Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Behind the Joystick, the podcast where we go behind the scenes to talk to people shaping the future of gaming and esports. I'm your host, Cordy, and today we are joined by our good friend Jared from the Playalong Podcast. In this episode, we dive into Jared's journey into podcasting, what inspired Playalong, and how him and his team built the space that brings people together through conversations, shared experiences, and genuine love for the industry. If you're a creator, podcaster, or someone who enjoys just listening to people behind the scenes, this episode is definitely for you. So enjoy.
Okay, well, everybody,
Yeah.
hi. My name is Jared. I'm from the Play Along Podcast. A little bit about what Play Along Podcast is. It's a video game book club where we play through games, and like I said, a kind of book club format. It's myself and my other two co-hosts, Kai and Ben, and we each take turns choosing a game. Then we get the game and break it up into sections, and spend like 1 to 2 months talking about that game specifically. It's a lot of fun because we all have different kind of interests in different types of video games, and because the length of the show is longer, we take more time on the individual games. We can really break down all the story and the narrative and the things like that as well. But yeah, that's Play Long Podcast.
That's awesome. I know your Instagram kind of blew up when y'all posted like the games that all of y'all are interested in, you,
Oh
Ben,
yeah.
and Kai, and everyone was cracking up because Kai only had one thing.
Well, it's funny because he told me as a joke, he's like, because I asked both of them for their list, and
Mhm.
that's the list he gave me, and I was like, it'd be funny if I just did that. I
Just
just
did
like
that, yeah.
posted what was the game? It was Five Hearts Under One Roof 9 times, and then like Slime Rancher, and I was like, this is kind of funny. Let's just run with that. And
Oh,
go.
it is. I saw that. I was like, oh my gosh, that's brilliant. Just
It's so
play
good.
the one game and then maybe throw one more in,
Yeah.
and that's it.
It's
reading-
helpful too because like that energy that you see in the Instagram post is about the energy we bring to the podcast as well. Like Kai is
Oh,
our
yeah.
little like chaos energy that we bring, so it's
Right.
perfect.
And then your community like knows so much about you. I went back to look at the comments just to see like what
Mhm.
people were saying, and they were like, you could only pick one Pokemon game. Like that's not like you. And it's like
Yeah.
you have like a really good community that, they know
Yeah.
what and why Kai does like that specific game and why
Yeah.
you could only pick one Pokemon game out of the many, many amounts of games. And then like Ben and how
Yeah.
variety he is and which
Mm.
games he picks. I mean, he's spread. He's all out there,
Yeah, that list could have definitely been 10 Pokemon games. Absolutely. Like,
Oh, yeah, the
I definitely
entire
could have
set.
done that. Yeah, the whole set could have just been Pokemon.
Now, with games, what would be like a game that you would wish to erase from your memory just to experience it again?
Oh, it's such a hard question. It's a great question though too. There's so many experience. My default was like Ocarina of Time, just because that was the first video game that kind of really got me into video game. That's a really core memory that I have as a child, and just like experiencing video games in a different way, other than it being something that is more like arcade setting or something that is more co-op, something that is a story and an adventure.
Mhm.
But if I can go back, I think I'm going to still stick with Zelda. I'm going to do Breath of the Wild.
Wow.
Just because Breath of the Wild, I like I said with Ocarina of Time, that was my first Zelda game. I've played Zelda games since then. I've played through most, if not all of them since then. And I would say that Breath of the Wild was the first time that I kind of got those feelings I had as a kid when I was playing through Ocarina of Time for the first time. And it could have been, that was around the era where I started to follow games more closely in terms of like the media. I was following video
Right.
game development. I was looking at people who was developing games, who was producing games. And I remember following the production of Breath of the Wild when it was Zelda U back in the day, when it was just going to be a Wii U
yeah.
game, and being really hyped for this new like open world Zelda game, and just like opening it up and like seeing the Great Plateau for the first time and experiencing that game. I don't think I could ever replicate it. And if I could like erase my memory and go back and do that again, that would be so cool. That would be amazing.
Oh, absolutely. Do you think that would be like part of like do you think that it's pretty much like a slice of why you've made the play along, or why you and your team made the Play Along podcast?
Ooh, in terms of like with that feeling, that
Yeah.
like getting that feeling back.
Mhm.
Yeah, a little bit. The show came out of I had listened to another podcast, and they we're doing kind of this format, but with Pokemon games. And I was like, oh,
Mhm.
it'd be interesting to do this, but with video games. And the idea of like a video game book club, I hadn't seen a lot of people do that, but this is a great way to kind of either re-experience those feelings or kind of live vicariously through someone else.
Yeah.
The first game that we played for the podcast was Ocarina of Time. I forced Kai and Ben to play through that because I wanted to play through that selfishly. Um,
As you should.
as I should, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you for validating me. Um, but Ben had never played through Ocarina of Time before. I mean, at that time, the game was almost 30 years old, and he had never touched it. So it was really
Wow.
cool to see him experience that game for the first time. And while he doesn't have the same like nostalgia that I have for the game or anything like that, I still kind of got to relive those memories watching someone else play it for the first time. And that has happened countless times in the podcast, right? We played through
Oh,
Metal Gear
absolutely.
Solid. I'd never played through a Metal Gear Solid game before. So all of us can kind of, vicariously live through the others. We're experiencing these franchises that for us, which is so near and dear to our heart, through the lens of someone that has never played it before. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, y'all started this during the pandemic, right? So, like,
Yeah.
how was like the walkthrough? Like, could you explain how like the idea, why y'all landed on the book style club, and
hmm
like instead of like the traditional like reviews of video games?
Sure, sure. So yeah, this was in 2021, so we're still in COVID, but kind of out of the mass lockdown that we kind of had all
Oh
been in.
yeah.
A lot of podcasts came out of COVID. A lot of people were trying to find
Yes.
something to do and find some ground to hold on to. Um, but yeah, I mean, I so many podcasts did news, and I did a podcast before with Kai before Play Along, where we did this. We talked about news, we talked about things like that prior. It was right at the tail end of 2019. So it's funny, right before COVID happened, we had this podcast, and then during COVID, we just ended up not even doing anything. We just played a bunch of video games.
Oh man.
Yeah. But yeah, so many people had done reviews or news or anything like that. And I had done that before, so I kind of wanted to do something different. And like I said, I'd found this show where they were getting a video game, a Pokemon game, and breaking it up into gyms. They would tackle a Pokemon gym every week. And
Oh
I thought it was a
wow.
cool idea to do that with a video game and kind of like have a mental check of how you're feeling about a game as you're going through the experience, right? I think that sometimes we get kind of passive when it comes to video games. So this forces me to kind of sit down at every kind of mark in a game that I'm playing, every chapter we go through, and sit down and kind
Able to pretty much group three people into doing a podcast. Like
of
like for me,
yeah,
doing this alone, it's so hard to get at least one person. So to have like a co-host or three people in
yeah.
one like loop around, like how hard is it for y'all to mix and match
Yeah.
and perfect dates and times and
Well, I mean, first of all, I want to give like kudos to you and people that do like solo content creation because like I can't imagine like having a team of people. I can't imagine doing this on my own because yeah, I
yeah.
would say scheduling is probably the hardest part of everything between editing and social media and like content managing. We can kind of delegate that to all three of us. Like all Ben handles editing the podcast, and before we were kind of bouncing between both of us editing, and he's like, you know what, I handle most of the social media stuff. Usually, if you're talking to Play Along, I'm the one behind the socials. And he's like, you know what? Because you kind of tackle all of that, I'll handle the editing portion of it. So he
Yeah.
edits the podcast. But no, Ben, our one of the co-hosts, he lives in the UK, so he's 8 hours ahead of us.
Oh
So
wow.
managing that is usually like the time zones are usually our hardest thing to do. We can't record during the week just
Yeah.
because it would either be super late our time or like 5 a.m. his time. So we have to record on weekends. And that does create some struggle, right? Like
Yeah.
weekends are usually time to unwind, spend time with family. Like there's a lot of time during early in the podcast where figuring out that like podcast life balance was hard because this is the only time we can record because of our schedules. Luckily,
Yeah.
Kai and he's my cousin. He lives very close to me. Like
Oh
he's in the
nice.
same time zone and everything. He's like a brother to me, so that's easy to do. But with Ben, it's a little harder just because of the time zones. But we figured it out. Like I said, weekends ended up working great for us. We were doing crazy at like 7 a.m. before. We were doing like 7 a.m. recordings.
Oh
And
my
now
gosh.
we usually do about between like 9 or 10 a.m. But yeah, we were doing pretty early before.
Oh man. Man. So then like okay, whenever y'all are doing these then like
Yeah.
what you so you do you like decide as a team on like what game y'all are going to like discuss, or
Mhm.
what is an occasion that you pick a game and then y'all are both all three of y'all are just not feeling it and then you have to cut it? Do you end up cutting or scrapping that game and playing something else, or
No, we usually just push through it.
push
That's
through?
usually how it works. So it started out in the beginning where we would do exactly what you were saying, right? We would kind of, as a team, like come together and have a conversation about it. Like, look, here's the game I'm wanting to pick next. First, like, do you have it at all? Do you have the platform that it exists on? Are you willing to buy the game? That was the other thing, right? If I'm wanting to play a brand new $60 game, that's a question I had to ask the other two. Like, are you willing to
Yeah.
drop $60 for the podcast? And we would have a conversation about it. But now I thought it was a fun idea. We've done this for the last couple of years where the other two co-hosts actually don't know what the game is prior to the person announcing it. So
Wow.
whether it's my turn or Kai's or Ben's, when he's announcing it in the podcast, we're hearing it for the first time actually. So we have no idea
Oh
going
no.
into it. Yeah. Which
So you'll see like the reaction straight on your face if you like the
yeah.
game or if
Yeah.
you've played it before and you're like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god."
Exactly. So you get that like instant reaction because we're also in the dark, just like the listeners are.
Yeah.
Um, but no, we've never had to scrap anything. I mean, we've had times where we've just not jived with the game. I think probably the most infamous we are from in the little indie podcast community is for our take on Chrono Trigger and Super Mario RPG, both those games which are very beloved 90s RPGs. We historically came out of that not loving it. And
Yeah.
hindsight, I've looked back on it and I think there's definitely things that I would change and that I like different after years have gone by since playing through those games. But that was before we kind of pulled back. Now we kind of spend about 4 episodes every game. 4 to 5
Okay.
is usually how long we take. Back then we were doing like 11, 12, 13 episodes on a single game. Like
Wow.
I think Chrono Trigger was 9 episodes. So we spent 9 weeks talking about Chrono Trigger, and that definitely wore down on us as well because of
Oh,
how long we're
absolutely.
spending in it. So when it's a game that we already don't are not having a great time with, or it's not like the type of game we'd like, and we're spending a lot of time in the game itself, it
Mhm.
starts to wear on us. But we just kind of went with it. We just kind of
Right.
like we're
Just
here. We already did it. We already
okay,
committed to
it's the
this. So we're
next
here.
episode of this game. Let's talk about it.
Well, it got to a point too because we kind of got into the loop of talking about Chrono Trigger specifically. We got
Mm.
into the loop of just kind of like shitting on it because we're all having a bad time, and
Oh
the
no.
community actually was just like, "This is hard to listen to,"
Right.
and it was great because like it forced us to be reflective and be like, "Look, we were kind of just like we got stuck in this loop of talking bad about this game instead of reflecting on it constructively." So it was like it was
Right.
good to kind of get that feedback back from our community, but it was a little bit of like stir crazy where like this is our 9th episode. We've been in this world for 9 weeks and we're just kind of tired of it at this point.
Right. You're tapping out. You're calling
Yep.
uncle on it.
Yeah, exactly.
So y'all ended up changing the format of the podcast
Yeah.
to lowering it down to that. Is there anything that you're wanting to like, I guess, change or
Mm.
enhance more of during your podcast? Like maybe something you need to do more of a deeper dive or a lesser dive or
Yeah, I mean the pulling back of the structure definitely creates a very specific length of game that we can play.
right.
And there's lots of games that I would love to do that are longer. One of the ones Ben has always wanted to play through is Persona 5, which
Oh
he
gosh.
loves, but I've
Yeah.
never played through. But that game's hundreds of hours long, and that just won't work for the format that we have. So
Right.
it kind of creates this thing where we only have very specific games that we can fit in 4 episodes. We've tried having other things where other formats where we try to get the longer format games are, but it just didn't quite work as well. And
Mm.
now, what we'll do is we'll kind of just do a one-off episode on a longer series where either we'll play as much of the game as possible, or we'll just be like, okay, boys, we're gonna spend the next 3 weeks try to get as far as you can in Persona 5, and we're gonna do one single episode on it. And that's kind of the route we've taken now because it just doesn't work for the book club. The format,
Right.
the week to week, just doesn't work for those kind of long games.
Yeah, I get that. Now,
Yeah,
you also you hold a lot on your community, which I admire a lot, like going through like Instagram,
yeah.
and kind of just piecing out what like the community is there. How do you go off and like bring the community into the book club? Like would you pull someone, or is it more like, do you have like a Discord that y'all all talk about the game like as a group together, or how
Yeah,
does that
so
usually work?
we do have a Discord, and that's kind of one of the things that I'm trying to work on in 2026 as well, as kind of be more active in that part. Like I said, I run the social media and I'm the person doing that. But when it comes to kind of like content creation and other indie podcasters, I I get very involved in their stuff, right? Like
Yeah.
I love being in people's Twitch streams and I love checking out people's podcasts and their YouTube videos and their Discords. But I forget that I also have a community that I have to run as well.
Yeah.
That's the problem with Discord is like you open in the anxiety of all those like white unread bubbles and just like the idea of being left out of just like all of these hundreds of conversations that are happening at once. And I get sucked into that a little bit. And then again, I forget that our Discord is there too. So that's something that I'm working on,
Right.
is trying to just be more active in my own Discord that's happening here. But in terms of the book club, that's actually what we've started to do this year. Is the book club for the most part was just the three of us, right? We've
Mm.
had other series that you have to guest it on, right? Where we have
Yeah.
guests that come onto the show. And this year we've started bringing people in the community, other indie podcasters, into the actual book club, which as of recording this, we've been playing through 1,000 Times Resist. And that has been a
Nice.
lot of fun of bringing people in the community and other podcasters in to get their takes on like specific sections of the game. And it's kind of been an interesting perspective too, of getting someone that is either, played the full game before or haven't played the game before, talk about one very specific section of the game too.
Yeah, I actually was listening to the Thousand Times Resist this morning,
Oh,
just so I
nice.
could
That's
fresh in
awesome.
my ears, and
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
reminded me of like an auto book, like a chapter book of
Oh, yeah.
someone's perspective
Yeah.
of the game, and it's like it's got a different twist to it, which is like, you're hearing it from someone who goes, "Oh, I absolutely love this game, and I've played hundreds of hours," and they're like,
Sure.
"Oh no, I actually hated this game, and I just started it this week. Like I'm not into this
Yeah.
game at all," and it's like you get the idea from someone else and like their perspective of it.
Yeah.
So like it's very intriguing and definitely different to do. How many episodes are y'all doing of that? Of the Thousand Resist?
1,000 Times Resist, we're doing 4. So there's 4 episodes of
4.
that. As of recording, the third one had just gone out. So we have one more episode of
Yeah.
that up. But yeah, it's very fun getting like the different perspectives of people that have either like played it or are going in fresh. Like Kai at the beginning, he's come around, not to spoil the show, but in the beginning,
Right.
Kai is like, this is not a good time. I'm
No.
not enjoying this. Which is kind of the fun of the format too, is you can kind of see someone's feelings change in real time as they're experiencing more and more context of whatever game you're playing through.
Right. Also thinking about it, and this just dawned on me.
Yeah.
So you were also talking about how it's kind of hard to make sure everyone has like the game.
Mm-hmm.
Are y'all going more towards like the Nintendo route, because they just talked about how you could buy one game and share that game across 4 Switches?
Yeah, that's
I thought that was so cool.
game share stuff is going to be kind of, I feel like the game share is going to be the kind of the next big push that happens. We had like
Yeah.
cross play and cross progression, but game share, especially with co-op games, I think that's kind of where it started with like the Hazelight Studio stuff, where you don't have to rely on someone having the game to play with them. As long as one
Right.
person has a copy, all the other people could play, which that's very helpful in that situation. So if more games do that, that'll be very great for us in our format.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
usually we try to, like I said, if we keep the other 2 co-hosts in the dark, but if it's a $60 game, I usually be like, hey, I won't tell them specifically what the game is, but kind of give them some generalities of here's what it's about. Are you willing to drop this money? Because I don't want to force anybody to. For a while, we were focusing on things on streaming services like Game Pass and PS Plus,
Yeah.
because that has easy access, right? If you're already paying for the streaming service, then we could just focus on those where all 3 co-hosts have easy access to that too. But
Right.
yeah,
Even Epic, they do
Yeah.
a monthly game where it's like completely free, and
Yep.
that's like something that y'all do. Like, oh, is that going to be a good game? No, it's not going to be a good
yeah,
game.
yeah. All those free games out there are a blessing and a curse, because I do like the Amazon and Epic Games. They'll give like the free bundles, and now my Steam library is just packed of games that I say I'm gonna play and never get around to.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking at mine and I'm like, oh my god, I need to stop buying games and I need to actually complete these.
But the deals are so hard to pass up.
They
You're
are.
like,
They are. Where it's free or it's like $2 of a $15 game. Okay.
look, if a game's
Okay.
like $5 or under, it's just like, I mean, you're just asking me to purchase you at that
You
point.
are.
Like
It's
that's
easy.
my coffee this morning was more expensive than this game I'm playing.
Oh, absolutely. And you got a longer use of the game than you do the coffee.
See, this is bad. We're just enabling each other and
We
buying
are.
video games. It's fine.
Just go buy
Yeah.
cheap video games and wait till they're on sale to buy them even
Yeah.
cheaper.
honestly, that's the biggest thing. Like, I know we get sucked into like the FOMO of like new games that are coming out, but like the longer you wait, and there's a lot of games to play, so you probably can, spend your time playing something else. It's gonna go on sale at some point. Like there's
Yeah,
gonna be a sale that goes on.
it is.
Yeah.
Especially like Steam Next Fest,
Oh,
Summer Games
that's
Fest.
coming up
Like
now, isn't it? Huh?
it is.
Yep.
It
That's right.
is.
That's right. That's right. Cool. My poor wallet.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to talk about this because this is something that around the time that this episode's going to be posted,
Okay.
I'll have like a video on top of it that will kind of
Ooh,
like push on
nice.
this. And so for you, you work on top of this. Like you have a life on top of
Yes,
podcasting and then
unfortunately.
also having to figure out Ben and his schedule and then whatever Kai does. Like y'all all have different things. How do you like push through like a burnout?
Mm.
Is that like a motivational between all three of you, or is that something that you do like by yourself?
Yeah. So I can only really speak to my experience because I don't know how both of them have felt. I know Ben has talked about burnout with the podcast, but I think it was in the beginning of 2024 I had a lot of burnout where it was just like, again, like I talked about earlier, the podcast, work, friendship, relationship, life balance was just all over the place. Like it was
Yeah.
very inconsistent. And I told the guys that I was like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like I was taking a serious, like maybe we should just stop this for a while because the balance was getting out of whack. Right, I was spending a lot of time with the podcast, but not prioritizing other relationships. Where it's like my own relationship with my partner or friendships and things like that too. And that took just a sitting down. Kai's like, well, I don't think we should stop. He's like, this is important for me. And I know this is a good outlet for you. And it's an important thing for you too. And it's a way for all three of us to connect, right? I think
Yeah.
it's hard to, carve out specific time with the people that are important to us because we get stuck in our kind of routine for so long. So the
Yeah.
podcast is like an intentional forcing us to, carve out this time and, talk to each other. Not that we need to be forced to talk to each other,
No.
but
You're held at gunpoint.
yeah, exactly. You're going to be on the show today, right?
Yeah, Kai's behind the camera right now at
Yeah,
gunpoint.
exactly. He's a prompter that I'm reading this whole time. But no, that's when the 4 episode limit came out, where we were doing 4 episodes on one show, and before those would release weekly, and now our book club episodes release every other week. So we were doing 4 book club episodes. We usually would do a bonus episode. We have our Get Wrecked series, which you guested on a show. And then before we were doing like Patreon content. So we were doing like 2 to 3 bonus episodes for Patreon. So we're doing like 8 episodes a month. And
Yeah.
it was just too much. So pulling that back, making the book club shorter, and kind of contextualizing what the podcast was really helped. And I think when it comes to burnout, taking a step back is always fine. Recontextualizing what you're doing and reassessing your life, I think, is important because you don't want other aspects of your life to fall through. But
Right.
it doesn't always have to be like you have to stop the thing forever, especially if it's important to you. Kind of just have to rework your life to see how it can fit and restructure things. And that's where our podcast is at this point.
Right. And so
Yeah.
you've pretty much pivoted, right?
Yeah.
And so you're doing the book club and you're doing Get Wrecked. What's could you explain more to people who don't know
Yeah.
what Get Wrecked is?
Yeah, so Get Red came from this idea of, us having an endless backlog of video games that we never get to play, and
Yeah.
just kind of like recommending games to another person and kind of forcing them to kind of look at their games they haven't played and pick one of them and just play it. So it came out of that, and also came out of the idea of the book club not really being a great place at that moment for guests. So I want to have more guests on the show. So what Get Wrecked is, it's one of us from the show and a guest come on, we each pick a game and recommend the game to the other person, and then we just sit and talk about both of those games. Courtney, you were on there. We talked
Yeah, we
about
did that.
Animal Crossing, and we talked
Rayman.
about Rayman. Yeah, Rayman
Yeah.
64, which was a great time. But again, it's just like a great way to either introduce someone to a game that's really important to you, or kind of force them to, again, look through their backlog and really focus on one of the games they said they were going to play for a long time and never, we all have that like,
Oh,
oh
yeah.
yeah, I'll get into that one next, or anything like that. So that has been a ton of, I think that's probably my favorite avenue of the podcast, has been doing the Get Rex, because I really like the intimate kind of one-on-one kind of conversations, the interview kind of like this. And again, it's just fun to have friends recommend things that they enjoy to you, because I love seeing people when they're really passionate about something kind of light up when they talk about it too. And that's
Oh,
been
yeah.
that's a lot of fun.
That is learning, watching more of Get Wrecked, which if you haven't yet, definitely do check it out. You play a lot more, or most of your audience,
Hmm.
or like the people that come on to the Get Wrecked episodes, they play more of something that hits like more home to them, like a child, a nostalgia. Oh, I would love to play this game because it reminds me of this,
Yeah.
and it's kind of one, it is kind of hard to try to find that game, if like, especially whenever I was trying to recommend you the GameCube
Yeah.
version of Animal Crossing, and it was
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah.
that's kind of hard to find. But like, have you ever had someone that was like, let's do a Nintendo 64 version, let's do
Hmm.
a Dreamcast version, I actually have my Dreamcast, so you need to figure out how to play it. Like,
Yeah.
has there ever been like like such a complex game for you to try to play, or for your guests to try to play and find?
Yeah, it's so wild that you bring this up because this is happening to me in real time, and we were gonna have a podcast, and there ended up being some scheduling issues, so it didn't end up working out for January. But there's a game that the guest had recommended me called Black and White, and Black and White was an old um, PC game that came out in 2001. And at this point, unless you have like the disc copy of it, it's like impossible to find. It is impossible to play, right? I'm not against emulation to a certain extent, right?
Right.
If you're emulating brand new games because you don't want to pay for them, I have a problem with that. But if you're emulating games that are 20, 30 plus years old, I think that's, fine to an extent. But even in terms of emulating, it's like not possible. I tried to
Yeah.
emulate it. There's like a bunch of hoops you have to jump through. And so I've
Oh
been trying to
no.
play this game because he's like, oh, I played this as a kid and I would love to talk about it. And so I'm trying to figure out like, okay, how do I play through this game? And I kind of got it to work, kind of didn't. But we even came to the consensus of, right, if you can't play a lot of it, the conversation around
It's
game
gonna be really small.
accessibility and all of that, and why this is like game preservation is so important, because games like this at some point are just lost. They're just lost to history. No one can ever play them or easily
Yeah.
play them, is a kind of an interesting conversation to have regardless. So it's funny that you bring that up because that's exactly what I'm going through right now, trying to figure out how the hell to play this game.
Right? Because I mean, really thinking about it, like some games are lost, forgotten. Some
Yeah,
people turn to you and they'll go, "I've never heard of that game." Like when
right.
we were discussing Ribbit King, you were like,
Oh yeah, I still
I
need.
don't know
I'm gonna
what
play it
Ribbit
one
King
day.
is,"
I'm gonna play
and
it one day.
there's a good chunk of people that go off. They're like, "I've never heard of that game before," and it's
Yeah.
like, you are missing an entire like thing of what people have made. And so
Yeah.
for there to be like a lost like files, there's probably more on top of that
Oh,
than what we
absolutely.
have. And
Yeah,
it's
for
it's
sure.
it's just sad.
Yeah.
It's sad to think that that there are some that people will probably never ever play again,
Yeah.
which is like the unfortunate event.
Yeah, they need to have
But
like libraries where you can like rent games, but they preserve like older. I mean, I know you can rent games from libraries now, but where you like they get access to the rights and they just kind of preserve old ROMs and they allow you to
right.
kind of like rent out video games, but they could still hold on to kind of
Yeah.
either the
Like,
physical or the code of the game, so it's not lost forever.
oh, absolutely. Like if there was a way to take like an old disc or cartridge or
Yeah,
file of the game, put it on a USB to kind of like help emulate that game to still keep it, then oh yeah,
yeah,
I'm in.
for sure.
But this does jump me to one question then. What would be like
Ooh,
a dream game for your show?
ooh, like a game
For
that we
both
haven't covered
both
yet.
shows. It could be Get Wrecked, or it could be the Play Along book club. Any game that you would want to like
I really want
play.
to do which little hint, and maybe coming up in the future, maybe not, I don't want to, but Kingdom Hearts is a
Oh,
series that I love, and I haven't jumped into the plethora of Kingdom Hearts games there are, but I've at least had enough of them and played them as a kid where it's like an important game for me. I think it'd
mhm.
be really cool to play through that again for the podcast because I haven't played it in such a long time. Or even like you said, for Get Wrecked, if someone recommends me one of the Kingdom Hearts games that I haven't played, I would love to dive more into this franchise. There's so many games that are like that, so many series. Like Fire Emblem is one that I've never played before.
Oh wow.
I have a lot of like big Nintendo franchises that I like. WarioWare, I've never played a WarioWare game before. I know people love that series too.
Wario's good.
Yeah, and so yeah, there's a ton of. I think Kingdom Hearts is at the top. Like I said, that may be coming to the podcast sometime this year, so stay tuned for that.
We'll
Um,
manifest.
yeah, exactly. Manifest. But yeah, there's so many franchise, and that's why I've loved doing the Get Rex series, because again, it's kind of forced me to play and tackle these franchises that I've never played before.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, another like a trick question, because let's say someone who's like in the college scene,
Hmm.
in high school, and they're wanting to do something like this. What would
Mm.
you like? What advice would you give them?
Oh man.
Or even someone your age, they're like,
Sure.
I want to do a podcast, but like, I don't even know where I
Yeah.
start. Or
Well, I would say luckily, even if you're like remotely interested in that, it's really easy to do it nowadays. It's probably hard to kind of like get traction because so many people do it.
yeah,
But I mean, if your intention is like, oh, I want to go into this because I want to be famous, I'm going to stop you right there because that's probably not going to happen.
yeah,
But
no,
if this is like something you're interested in, obviously you want to have conversations with friends, or even like me recently, I've been kind of using the podcast as like a time capsule too. It's been fun to go back and listen to old episodes and just kind of like see where we were and hear about our lives and hear about the games we've been playing. So it's been, yes, for the community, yes, for the podcast, but for personal reasons, just a great way to look back. But I mean, if you are interested in that now, it's easy to do, right? There's so many free platforms that you can stream audio through, things like Spotify for podcasters and things like that are a way for you to distribute your podcast for free. It's easy to do that. I mean,
yeah,
social media is bigger than it's ever been at this point. So it's probably easier to reach, especially if you're already kind of connected, if you're already interacting with indie podcasters, if you're already interacting with streamers. It's much easier nowadays to get directly connected with a lot of them too. So I mean, if you're interested in it, honestly just start. Whether it's, and don't be worried about like having bad audio or having bad video or anything like
yeah,
that. I think that stuff comes down the line, but just getting started and getting the ball rolling with something, I think is probably the hardest part, is just to get it going.
right. It is.
Yeah.
So, jumping on to this, uh, do you think that you wish that you did it sooner? The podcast.
Ooh, interesting. Kind of yes and no. Because like I said, I had a podcast before this
Hmm.
in 2019. And then when COVID happened, I just didn't podcast anymore. And I'm like, that would have been the perfect time. I was
Right.
doing nothing. I was playing a lot of video games is what I was doing, but like
Oh yeah.
that was the ample time to podcast. But I don't know. I think it all kind of like worked out. It all fell into place and everything. I randomly had pitched this to Ben, and he was like, I know you didn't formally ask me, but I want to be on this. And I was like, that's why I brought it up to you, because I wanted him to be a part of it too.
Right.
Um, so I think it worked. It worked out. The timing was kind of like the best time it could have been, because I think it was still early enough where a lot of people were starting content creation, either 2020 or like the beginning of COVID and everything like that too. Um, and we've kind of kept up with it as well.
Yeah.
You know, I've it's wild because as of as of this month actually of recording, we've been doing it for 5 years, which is crazy to think about. And the fact that I've seen so many podcasts start and end in that is kind of insane as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part it really is, because there's such a broad range of people that are like, we're gonna do this,
Oh,
and
for
then it's
sure.
like 2 years they're like, all right, we hit 100 episodes, we are done, and it's like, but why?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then
Or it
I've
just
seen,
becomes too much, right? It is
yeah,
a lot to like you were saying, having a job and everything, and to juggle all of that, it's a lot to manage, especially if you're doing it on your own. Again, I can't imagine having to do all this by myself.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
you individual content creators, you are doing the Lord's work, because I can't imagine.
we're manifesting. We're gonna have someone on the podcast one day. One
Yeah, there you go.
day. Make them do my dirty work.
Yeah, exactly. Little
That's
editing
awesome.
here, little my
Yes.
problem though too was like, not that I have like control issues. I mean, maybe a little bit, but like stepping back and being okay with someone like taking reins too.
Yeah.
Because me and Ben were back and forth on it, and I feel like I was like, oh, this is my specific vision and it has to be this way. And it's like he also has a vision for things, and that's perfectly fine too. And being perfectly
Right.
fine with both of those things, you know, um, going back and forth too, and kind of taking away control, but like, you know what, letting go of that, which that was
Right. You
not
have
easy to
to.
do.
Did
Yeah,
y'all
oh yeah, for
ever
sure.
did y'all ever have like to butt heads or anything? Like, was there like a lot of head butting, maybe to like that was like, you know what? I don't want to do the podcast anymore.
No,
Was there
not
ever a
really.
moment like that?
No, we all kind of like got along and had the same vision. Kai is not really a fan of the, as we stated, the 90s top-down turn-based RPGs. If we
Yeah.
made him play more of those, that probably might happen
Oh yeah.
down the line. But no, we've all been pretty much on board, and there's never been kind of like a conflict of the vision, because I think that all of our ideas contribute to what the vision is, because we're all part of the podcast.
Mhm.
So I think all perspectives are valid. It was more just me giving up control and being okay with not having, direct influence or contact on specific things, being perfectly okay with, someone else
Yeah.
having their vision and me not even having any input on that too, being okay with
Yeah.
that.
Now, I do have one more question, and I know I'm taking a lot of your time because you just
No,
got off
this
work.
is, I'm having a blast. More of
Okay,
this,
good.
please.
Phew. Well, okay. So then my last question though would be, where do you see the podcast, whether the book club, Get Wrecked,
Mhm.
maybe something new in like the next 5 years?
Oh, the 5-year question is always a good one, and always one that I'm never prepared for.
Yeah.
um,
Or at least what you're hoping for. I mean,
sure,
you can't promise what I mean, because anything could happen
absolutely.
in 5 years.
uh my issue was with the podcast before and even now is I had too many ideas. I had too
Yeah.
many ideas and not enough time to do all of them. Like, I really want to stream. I think streaming is fun because I love being on the chat side of streams and engaging with streamers and especially like small content creators. I love doing that, and that's
Mm.
just kind of another avenue where if people can't take the time, because time is precious, right? We don't
Yeah.
have time to dedicate to every single person that we love and enjoy their content with, and especially with our episodes are, anywhere from 90 minutes to 2.5 hours. That's a lot of time to ask from somebody, and I appreciate that. Anybody that takes time to dedicate to our show, I'm appreciative of that. But if someone doesn't have that time, we've started doing our stuff on YouTube now so people can watch. When it came to streaming, the idea would be like I would stream my playthrough, my perspective of the games we're playing. So if people can't take time for the podcast and they can't take time for the video, they can pop into a stream, watch me play 1,000 times resist for like an hour, and then that's how they absorb play along, is in that specific perspective. So I
Yeah.
guess kind of like an idea going forward is like trying to find new avenues for people to absorb the content and not being stuck with the idea that it has to be podcast or it has to be video.
Right.
Even through social media, I'm terrible at doing social media that involves me talking to a camera.
Right.
I just need to like sit down and do it. But even that, where it's like sitting down in front of my phone and talking about, indie games that I'm enjoying, or talking about cheap Steam games that I've been playing, or talking about sections of the podcast, people interacting that way is just another avenue that people can engage with. And I think that's a valid avenue, right, too.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
my goal and want is possibly streaming, do more social media stuff, because I want to be more involved there. But also, social media is a slippery slope black hole that I don't know
It
if
is.
I
What's
struggle
so
with how much
bad?
I want to engage into it every day or not.
Oh yeah. Well, what's so bad though is like we've blinked and like we're now cruising on 6 years since the pandemic.
That's crazy. That's not real. The pandemic was 6 years
Does,
long.
right? That's how I feel. It's like if you blink, it's like no. It still feels like
Yeah.
2021. Not
Well,
2026.
even when I'm hearing like the games that came out in 2019 was 7 years ago.
Oh yeah.
7 years ago. We're
Or the hype
celebrating.
of 2016, and everyone's all like, "Look at these games." And it was like, no, those came
You're
out
telling me
19.
Overwatch came out 10 years ago?
I
Like,
don't believe it.
yes, it's crazy. It's insane. It's so crazy. But yeah, like you said, we kind of blink and it passes us by, and I think we get absorbed into social media a lot, and that kind of contributes to that feeling of things just slipping away, especially if we're like scrolling and everything's so easily digestible and goes in one ear out the other very quickly too. We want our
Yeah.
content quick and fast. That's usually my struggle. I don't think it's a day-to-day thing that I think about, but it's just like, yeah, like I want to do social media because I want to engage with the community more. And sometimes I'll feel bad about it too, because usually on the weekends, I'll just be off my phone. I'll
Yeah.
just be away from my phone because I'm doing life stuff, right? Groceries, laundry, just being a human during the weekends when I'm not working. And sometimes I feel guilty, like I'm not engaging with the podcast. I'm not posting
Yeah.
on socials or anything like that. But I think that's a nice break from,
Oh,
being
absolutely.
directly connected to everything every time of the day instantly.
Oh yeah. And I also with the podcast though, it's also like a good little relief too, especially
Yeah.
as a trio of all three of y'all, because it's not like one has to do it. There's always another person that's like, hey, I'm not feeling the social media. And someone goes, well, I have a video idea. Can I post it? And you're like, go ahead, do it.
Yeah.
And it's not just like, oh man, I didn't post today. I need to post today. I need to post today.
Yeah, which I feel that a lot. I'm like, oh, I need to post, but then I don't. Like, also getting and sitting down and editing stuff too.
Yeah.
Like editing down clips from the podcast, especially now that we're doing more video, is just like it's something I have to be very intentional of, because if I don't, I will just never do it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, but I want to play games, and then I have a podcast about playing video games, and I end up playing little video games besides what we're talking about.
Right.
You know, my life is
You
dedicated
spend like a
to
good
other things.
hour.
Yeah, I'm like, here's my hour at the end of the day to play something. What do I want to play?
Yeah. And how, okay, well then that's another question. How do you decide what you want to play? Let's say you have the hour in the day. Do you play what the podcast wants you to play, or do you want to play something that you want to play? Like,
you're diving into a struggle I deal with every night.
How do you
sit
fight
down in front
through
of my
that,
computer.
you know? Flip up a coin, you know, heads it's this game, tails it's this game.
You know, I think like as going into adulthood, like gamifying that helps a lot. It sounds silly. Like I have a running list of kind of like games that I'm wanting to play. Like I'll do a backlog resolution every year of like, here's the games I want to play this year. And before I was like putting them in a wheel and wheel spinning and being like, okay, which one am I randomly playing? Let's play that. But it depends. Every night's different. It depends on how close I am to the recording. Sometimes I'd be like, okay, recording this weekend, I have to sit down and play 1,000 Times Resist because I haven't finished this chapter and I have to play through this. But there's times where I don't feel like playing it. Or I just want to play like a live service game. I just want to jump into some Overwatch or something, and I just want to play an hour or something like that too. So no, I would say that if I have an hour of game time at the end of the day, I probably spend like 20 minutes of that like looking through Steam library. Through my Xbox library. Do I play on a PlayStation? Do I not play on a PlayStation? Something that hits, you know? Like that. It's this idea of just like having, and that's why, I mean, I love streaming services too, but just like kind of this like overwhelming flood of decisions where it's like you have every game at your disposal. It's just like, I don't know if I want every game at my disposal, right? Like when I was younger in high school and stuff like that, I only afford getting a game for a birthday or holiday. I didn't have a lot of choice. It's like, here's the games you have and this is all you can play, because you can't really afford it. But with things like Game Pass, it's like I can have 100, 150, 200 games instant, and I can play them at any point.
Right.
So deciding on what to play is like, man, that's hard.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Do you think, okay, you're older than 29?
Yes, I turned 31 this month.
Oh, okay, cool. Do you think hitting 30, because I just hit 30 last month.
Okay.
No, December. I just turned 30.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have slowed down like to 80. I don't want to do anything. I want to grab my handheld and I want to lay on my bed and I want to play my game. I don't want to turn my PlayStation on. I don't want to turn my PC on. But it's like I have to do those at the same time because that's what I want to do. Like, I want that to be my job. I can't not do it.
Yeah, I feel that so much because, and that's why, I mean, I already love handheld gaming. Probably because I grew up with like the Game Boy and the DS and playing a lot of games handheld because I love the Switch. I just recently got for Christmas the PlayStation Portal. So being able to play PS5 games just on my couch is good because I work in marketing. I'm a graphic designer. So I spend my 8 hours of day behind a desk. So sometimes I'm just like, oh, playing video games. I don't want to come and sit behind a desk and play more video games. So it's nice to have like the outlet of like, oh, I'll grab my 3DS, I'll grab my Portal, or I'll grab the Switch and just play those games in another room that's not there too. So no, I feel that so much where you just kind of want to like hunker down in the corner and just be like, oh,
yes, I want to lay on my stomach and kick my feet and play my game.
Absolutely. But I don't know, I'm also taking a new lease on like 30 too, because I also in that aspect I feel like I'm wanting to slow down, but then I feel like I have a lot of energy towards other things too, right? I want to be more active, I want to be more fit and move around a lot more, because I feel like we take that for granted a lot too, because people get to an age, it's probably because which is a very 30 thing to say, that I like threw my back out.
Oh no.
But it was at the point too where I was like, I like couldn't roll out of bed, like it was hard to move like that. And I'm like, wow, you like take for granted those little things that you just kind of do every day, like standing up from a chair and everything like that too. And the most millennial thing to say is I'm in my 30s, I threw my back out.
What's so bad is, so me just turning 30, my mom, she had me really young, so she's like in her late 40s.
Okay.
And I'm listening to her and she's like, oh, my knee and my this, and my brain's like, I don't feel that, and I don't believe you. Like, you're supposed to feel that way like after 50, maybe 60.
Sure.
Like, what are you talking about? Your nerve system and
See,
your
that's why I'm trying to just
sciatic
move.
pain and
Just trying to move around, and as a sweaty gamer nerd, I am very programmed to be here
yeah.
and do this for a long time, and so
Oh
I got to
yeah.
remember to get out and move around every now and then, which I do.
I'm
I enjoy too. So yeah.
good. I'm really tempted to buy a sim racing like thing,
Oh, that would be so
but I want
cool.
my chair to shake me just so I have,
Yes.
that movement my body thinks it's doing.
Those are so cool. I love
Yeah.
seeing people, or like my
So
favorite
expensive.
thing is my like guilty pleasure streams that I've watched like while I'm working is people that play oh my gosh, I'm blanking. It's like truck driver simulator or something, but they have the
Yes.
whole rig. Like their like
Oh yeah.
setup looks like the like inside of a truck and everything. I was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
so cool.
And
I
they
would
they,
love
they do
that.
like the little dressing and they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, Janet, let me move over." And
Yeah.
it's so bad. It's
Oh,
so good at the same time though.
I love it. I love it so much. Or like I know a lot of people that do less like to that extreme, but they'll have like a walking pad when they play
Oh
games,
yeah.
or they'll bring like their Switch to the gym and everything. And I'm like, yeah, that's genius. That's perfect. You just get a game in when you're at the gym, or bring a walking pad into your house and on your desk and everything. Get a standing desk. Standing desks are great. They're
Oh
great for that
yeah.
kind of stuff, especially if you work from home, which I would love. You know, you
Oh.
heard my long commute home. So that's
Oh yeah, yeah. Good
every
gravy.
that's every day. Yeah, it was
Ugh.
particularly bad today, but it's usually about an hour or so drive home, which is not fun.
Yeah, no, you need to put in like a little sign. Doing this at home, please.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah. Okay. Well, before we wrap this up, where can people find the Play Along podcast and the best place to join the community?
Yeah, so you can listen to Play Along Pod anywhere you listen to podcasts, wherever you find them. If you want video versions, we have them now on Spotify, YouTube as well, youtube.com/playalongpod. You can watch the video versions of them there. And anywhere you find our show, our link tree will be there, where there's a link to our Discord server, one that I'm going to be very better at being active in. But we do have a fun community of, of community members and indie podcasters and content creators in there too. So if anything, not for our show, there's so many amazing podcasts and YouTubers and streamers that are in there too, and it's a good time. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
you can find all
But
that
that's
there.
like the best place to also ask questions. If you want to
Yeah,
get into this, they will have
for
answers
sure.
for you.
For
Yeah.
sure. I kind of prided myself on having the podcast be evergreen as well. So you can listen to our episode 1 now, and audio quality might be questionable, but we're still doing the same thing in Awkward of Time episode 1 in 2021 that we're doing right now in 2026. So it's like
Yeah.
you can go back and listen to those episodes too.
Yay, that's
Yeah.
awesome. And we'll also put everything in either the show notes or in the
Yes.
description if you're watching this on YouTube. And yes, okay, thank you so much.
This was